Hey, Coach. So happy you found us on YouTube. It's great. There's lots of great resources out there. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. You want to win more games, less time from someone that's done it. Let me mentor you. Let me help you. Teachhoops.com will allow you to do that. That's the first thing. Also, go over and subscribe and like. If you do like the podcast, it's a great place to kind of find all the resources and things that you need to become a better basketball coach. So have a great day and go enjoy the video.
Hello, Teach Hoops members. Coach Steger here, giving my weekly set or play or offense of the week, if you might call it. I decided to expand this idea of set into this maybe diagram of the week. In essence, I think that I can be able to showcase other things besides just a basic set, especially for coaches that don't coach high school. Because I believe that concepts are more important at a younger age to develop. When I was a high school coach, I developed this offense with some minor tweaks. It's a basic pass and cut offense. It's a 4-out, 1-in. As you can see, there's 4 players around the perimeter. You can adjust the spacing like you want to. My spacing of the 4 spots up top are intended for a grade 3 or 4th grade, because if you make the spots too big, it makes it very difficult for them to pass. So passing is really important if you decide to run this offense. It's very simple. If you pass the ball, you make a rim cut, always, all right? And then depending on where your pass comes from, it's the type of cut you come off of it. Okay, so you have these 4 spots, and then you'll be able to see it on my attachment to this offense later on if you want to really dive into it. And you can always ask questions, and you can email me at any time regarding my pass and cut offense for youth. So this 5-man, he is kind of very similar to the action in a dribble drive. He is not constantly following the ball. He is actually going the opposite side of the ball to create areas for dribble penetration for the players with the ball. I don't like players in the corner at younger ages because it makes it very hard, and they're difficult angles for kids to drive. I like to be able to give them angles of direct drives directly to the rim. So as you can see, if I were to take the player number 3, if he got the ball, he would be able to directly drive right or left, which really creates opportunities. And the really key point of this is if you can find a player that can rebound quickly off a miss, you can get some easy baskets, or a smart player that is strong. If they drive, you can teach them to be able to look, and they get like if a team is really good at help side defense, you always have somebody there to dump the ball off to. So it's a modified version of a little bit of dribble drive with some of the action, but it's far more passing and cutting. Just some simple concepts of dribble drive with the bottom guy, and I like to call him the blocker because he's always opposite of the block. And then I almost like to call these the movers, or you can give any terminology that you want. So in this sequence, the 1 would pass the ball to the 3. And remember, this is a motion or a basic continuity offense. But it's not so much a continuity because there's different reads and reacts off of it. So I would consider it more of a read and react offense. As you can see, if the ball is moved from a top side to the bottom side, okay, a top pass to the bottom, okay, you're always going to make a rim cut, and you're going to empty opposite side of the ball. Now, this is really diagrammed in a sense so people can see it, but 3 and 4 almost happen a little bit simultaneously once the 1 gets a good piece of the lane, or we call a lane cut. Every time you pass, you're making a lane cut or step into the lane, which I think is very easy for kids to learn basketball terminology and then learning concepts instead of set plays that they can build off as they get older as a basketball player and more experienced. The 1 would obviously cut opposite of the ball, but remember, the next page, once that player kind of gets through the lane, 4 and 2, or your players that are the other 2 spots here, would make a cut into the lane and replace into the next spots, and I'll show you right now. As you can see, both players, one is already up here. I just do that because then it shows that this one is occupying 2 space. 2 and 4 are going to make a lane cut in, and then they're going to pop out. Now, why do I do that? Because players can learn to read and react off of these cuts. Say players are starting to cheat, okay, and you have 5 who's opposite of the ball, you have an opportunity for space here to allow these players to cut. And so they make a lane cut, and then they pop out if they don't get the basketball. And then you have your 4 spots occupied, and the ball is still here. Now, if the ball is moved, let's say that the 3-man decides to, obviously he can't do anything here besides drive or pass. At 4th and 5th grade, I wouldn't really suggest anybody shooting this long range of a shot. So he goes from a bottom to top pass. So a bottom to top pass, I always talk to kids about a top to bottom pass is very simple. They make a rim cut, and then they go back to where they came from. Okay, so bottom to top pass, you cut to the lane, and you go back to where you came from, okay, to create space and movement continuously. As you move forward within the offense, I have not really decided what I want to do in regards to I think the easiest thing is a side-to-side pass or from wing top to top. It's always a basket cut and then replace opposite of the ball, okay? So it's still a top to top or a top to bottom pass. Anything from the top to a different position is still a pass and then a cut to the rim and then empty out opposite the ball, and then the 3-man would replace or the player on this area here. Now, then if you look continuously, then the 5-man would rotate opposite of the block. And then you would see the action here. This would be the 2-man cutting. Both players are still making those cuts into the lane and popping out. And same concept, top to bottom, rim run or rim cut to empty out opposite side of the ball. Okay, and you have these 4 spaces. You know, it's a basic skeleton. You can change the terminology, how you read it. You may want to use easier code words for kids to understand. But again, I think it's really easy for them to do. You give them 2 to 3 principles. There's no screening involved. Top to bottom. Every time you pass, you're cutting. Anytime you make a bottom to top pass, you cut and replace back to your spot. And anytime you make a top to top pass or a top to bottom pass or a pass from the top, you're always making a cut and you're emptying opposite side of the ball. You know, one thing you may want to teach is the midline, because in the midline really gives an understanding. You know, the ball has crossed, anytime the ball crosses the midline, that they could understand. Or if the ball, you cut away from the midline, so you cut to the opposite side of the midline. You know, you could add that terminology too, depending on how complex you want to get. When a baseline drive occurs, the blocker needs to get to the tee. So, you get a nice baseline drive. This is a wonderful opportunity for the player to go hard and see that guy on the help side. That's an action that the thing you could actually work on and practice as a breakdown drill. Simple drive drill and finishing, teaching how to move off the ball without the ball at the blocker movement, which is an awesome concept to teach in any motion offense. Now, I will, as we continue on with this, if you have more questions with this offense, I can give you 2 other suggestions that you can build off of it. One thing that you can do if you have a strong player and you want to post isolation, you can move them to the blocker, and you can move the ball side to side, and then they follow the ball, okay, and post up, make a flash, and you can find them inside. Another thing that you could do is then also make that blocker the screener in a set for a ball screen, and then you could overload a sign and you have a simple pick and roll action off the blocker. So really your sets come off the blocker player or the guy that's moving side to side opposite of the ball. So it keeps things very simple, which is great. As we move forward, then you could add, as you build on your youth program, you could build on increasing the spacing, adding some screens, maybe some different principles or actions out of it. But I think this is a great general offense, anything from 4 to 6th grade, or it could be a general offense even in upper middle school, heck, even high school, at points where you just need some good movement and cutting, and it's simple, and it really teaches kids how to read and react in the game. So that is my youth offense, cut, pass, and cut, 4 out, 1 in. And thank you for viewing my presentation. Have a great day. Keep teaching hoops. Bye.
Hey, Coach, so happy you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.